You might be interested to know a little bit more about the workings of this big radiogram, the 1937 HMV gram. The record changer was a unit that was in production for quite a long time, pre-war, and fitted to a lot of Marconi and HMV top-of-the-range models. Most radiograms came with just a manual single player, like you've seen on the little gram upstairs, the Marconi gram. But these auto changers were, well, they are massive mechanisms underneath this motor board, which screws into the top of the mechanism. Is a great big sort of machinery chassis, double plate, two-plated thing, a bit like a clock, two plates with the mechanism all sort of fixed in between, and it's a mass, it's a sea of moving parts, all beautifully machined parts and things. They were sort of hand-built, really, these things, and I'll show you one day the very first HMV auto changer that was ever made and put out in the 1920s. That makes this one look like pocket size. All these knobs and buttons, if you're wondering what they're for, this was a standard feature on larger radios, a switch controlling which loudspeaker is in operation, because there's always provision on these big sets for an external loudspeaker, and you might have that in a different room. These machines were big investments, and they were the home entertainment centre of the time. So to be able to have your radio playing in the next room, or your record player playing in the next room, was a desirable thing. So here, speaker in mid position, both the external and internal speakers are operating. That way external only, that way internal only. This great big knob is to change the mechanism from 10-inch, changing 10-inch records to 12-inch records, and it does that by moving these pillars and jaws apart, or moving them together. You see that. That's that. And then this little knob at the back, this controls how the automatic machinery works. If it's switched to that direction, it's manual only, and it cuts all the automatic processes out. In the middle it behaves in its normal way. If you turn it to there, it repeats the record ad infinitum. And that's that. That's the start button there. And this is the speed control. It's just a knob that turns fast one way, slow the other. And although it's an electric motor, it is controlled by a governor of a similar design to that which I showed you in that picture of the clockwork motor. And I told you before about the switch that switches the thing on. When you lift the pickup, the motor comes on, because this pickup rest is on a spring. When it's at rest and you push the start button, it actually operates by the start button forcing up this rest, and as the mechanism starts, the pickup lifts off, and so the rest stays in the upright position. To take the records off when you've finished, you have to actually remove the centre spindle and slide them off the spindle, and then put the spindle back in for the next lot. So that's a quick rundown on the automatic mechanism pre-war in HMV and Marconi machines. You will see in all these gramophones this remark printed on: close lid whilst playing, and that was just to eradicate extraneous needle hiss, or what's called needle chatter in the textbooks. That's also why the insides of these cabinets are always lined with felt, to try and dampen any noise coming from the surface of the record while it's playing. Anyway, after all that, we'll play a record. I'll just pause this while we load it. Well, this isn't anything I know, but I saw that it was Roy Fox and his band, and they normally produce some nice stuff. I'm a Failure, bit of a disappointing title, isn't it? But it's clearly from a show, Love, Life and Laughter, so perhaps check that on the internet and see if we can find anything about it. It's a B-side of a record. What's on the other side? Cheery Waltz from the same show, Love, Life and Laughter. Anyway, we'll be a failure today. Press the button and off we go.
But only dear with you. You took my heart, dear, and then found someone new. There once was a time when you gave your love to me. Along came another, and then you set me free. I know I'm a failure. You plainly told me this, not in words, dear, but when I felt your kiss. I thought that I had everything, I could wish for nothing new, but still I'm a failure, dear, with you.
Well, I was tempted to play the other side of that record then, just to see what it was like. Fortunately, I paused the video and tested it first. I'm glad I did, because it was not very exciting really. So that's all for today. Bit of a rambling day today with my waffle on about the radiogram, but for those with a technical interest, that's fine, and those who don't like it can cut it out. So there we are. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.